We're going to start off with an angel named Castiel. Anybody ever see the show Supernatural? Anybody ever seen the show Supernatural? Okay. There's an angel on Supernatural called Castiel. And so we're going to start off with Castiel, and then we're going to start off with Hecate. The very key here, because Hecate is a moon goddess, as well as a god in Egypt called Khonsu. And isn't it interesting that you got a moon, a crescent moon, on your flag? So it's a lot of stuff that's going on, real powerful energies and all that. And so now remember, I always said that the government sanction out the government sanctions out the South Carolina Negro. You see what I'm saying? It's got something to do with your origin, got something to do, a lot of Congo Africans came through here, you see. And it's got something to do with a very unique type of people. And so that is why they are very hard on you. This is still one of the most racist states. You notice whenever anybody gonna do something, whether it's the Tea Party or the Republican Party, they always gotta stop through South Carolina early. Now I think one of the first Tea Party things was out of this state. And Tea Party is nothing but another word for the Klan. You see what I'm saying? That's another word for the Klan, and that's how they fashion this stuff. You see, that's how they fashion these things. But so what we want to do is, but it's very interesting that you have this moon on your flag. We're gonna go into all this type of science, and then I'm gonna show some other science that we're gonna go into tonight, dealing with South Carolina. Dealing with South Carolina. Okay, so let's pull this out of the electricity with it. Ashe. Okay, we're going to give a shout out to Castiel. Ashe. Hecate. Ashe. Yemenia. Ashe. Oya. Ashe. Oshun. Ashe. Ogun. Ashe. Legba. Ashe. Obatala. Ashe. Shango. Ashe. Oduduwa. Ashe. Oshosi. Ashe. Kali. Ashe. Pravati, Ashe, Sati, Ashe, Aset, Ashe, Ganesha, Ashe, Shiva, Ashe, Vishnu, Ashe, Tahuti, Ashe, Sarasvati, Ashe, Neptes, Ashe, Serket, Ashe, Neith, Ashe, Nekabet, Ashe, Uwajet, Ashe, Serket, Ashe, Segment, Ashe, Heteru, Ashe, Amru, Ashe, Zarabanda, Ashe, El Cristo Negro, Ashe, El Cristo Rey, Ashe, La Spiritus and Tranquilis, Ashe, San Simon, Ashe, La Santissima Muerte, Ashe, La Santissima Petra Eden, Ashe, Madre de Agua, Ashe, Madre de la Luna, Ashe, Mama Sholin, Ashe, let's see, Urzuli, Ashe, Yemenia, Ashe, Kuan Yin, Ashe, let's see, boy, it's thousands. See a real good one. Siba, Ashe, like I say, Khonsu, Ashe, Amun-Ra, I say Amun-Ra-Nisa, I say Bass, I say Butchit, I say Dudu, I say Lama Yin, I say.
We have to get this wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, this is good enough. They know what time it is. To all gods known and unknown. I say all ancestors known and unknown. Start calling out your ancestors. I say Hemmitt family. I say Jacob family. I say Charles family. I say call out your ancestors. Come on, you gotta pick this shit up. This is energy. Yeah, all right. Okay, to all ancestors known and unknown. I say, okay. The reason why I wanted to I call on Castiel. Castiel is an angel. It's an angel of, this angel is an angel of Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Let me get a book out right quick. See if I got that. I put the dictionary of angels up in here. Yeah. And so, Castiel is ruled by Saturn. Cut this off a little bit. So it get too dark. And so we're going to look up Castiel. And Castiel also, his day is Saturday. Anytime you get any Capricorn or any kind of thing with Saturn, Saturn is dealing with Saturday. That's where you get the word Sat from. It comes from Saturn. Saturn is a planet of chastisement. There's a book called Saturn, a new look at an old devil. Saturn, a new look at an old devil. It's a book that was out most of the 90s, is out of print now, but I think it's getting ready to come back in. But you still can go on the internet and get it fairly cheap. Get it fairly cheap. So let me see something here. Castiel. Castiel is an angel of solitude and tears who serves for the unity of an eternal kingdom. Castiel is one of the rulers of the planet Saturn. Is also ruling prince of the seventh heaven of Siam, princes, and order of power, and also an order of power. Sometimes he appears as an angel of temperance, and sometimes he also appears riding a dragon. The Maga speaks of Castiel. Castiel is one of three angels of Saturday serving with Machian and Uriel. Now, so this is ironic that we talk about this on this day, Saturday, 13. 13 also has to do with the moon. 13 has also to do with the moon, but Castiel also has to do with Saturn. Now, I'm going to explain this in the context to show you where ancestors go. Well, some ancestors go when they die. They get new stations. Now, recently, about 2 years ago, I heard that Khalid Muhammad is now some type of warrior angel in the spirit realm. So you get several things, just like we heard from John Henry Clark, him, and other people that used to be scholars down here. They have a whole group of them that will hang out on another realm. It's like they say, well, you know, this fight between Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. They asked the question when we with these transmissions, they said, where are they? They said they hang out together now. They're in a certain order of things. You see, and this is how we have to start looking at things, you see what I'm saying, outside of this physical body. You see, outside of this physical body, because we think that this earth and certain things that happen is all we have. But there's several stations that happen in other zones, and in other universes. And you might have the ring. So let's say if we're talking energy here, so if your energy was that of a warrior, or your energy was that of a scholar, you see what I'm saying? If your energy was that of a musician, when you go to the next station, you might have some of the same energies, you see what I'm saying, outside of the physical realm. See, it's not hard to look at this. If you look at this, you see what I'm saying, as energies and as formulas. You see what I'm saying? That's why the universities to this day always still try to separate science and spirit. So when you're dealing with stuff spirit, they say, no, you got to go to the theology department. You see. Meanwhile, they come up with new names that talk about science and spirit and call it quantum physics. You see what I'm saying? you know, separating, and got you in confusion thinking, well, if you're a scientist, you can't be with God. You see what I'm saying? And meanwhile, they done came and took our African sciences, you see, and they dealing with that, but they got us all separated. Jesus is the answer. You see, that's why we don't learn shit. You see, so now it's interesting here, because I'm gonna show you something here. So there's different stations you go to, and you can track some of these people. We have tracked some of these great people. You see, some of these great musicians, these great people, and they have other stations in life. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's interesting here because I said, so where's John Henry Clark? They say he sets over your Cossack records. Well, it makes sense. The man had tens of thousands of books in his house. You see what I'm saying? You see, so it's interesting how things pass on. Now this is interesting here for some reason. My mother, who made the transition in 06, in 06, when she made the transition in 06, she had to go through all of her whatever thing and so whatever. And about 2 months ago, my brother called me and said, my youngest brother, he called me, he said, hey, I ended up in a place and I saw Mama. And she looked at me and said, what are you doing here? He looked at her like, what are you doing here? Whatever it was, when she looked at him, he must was in a realm that he should only be in if he's dead. Now, let me explain this. The show called Supernatural comes on Friday nights on UPN or whatever they call it now. Yeah. Supernatural. It's been coming on since 2005. It's a story about two brothers that they're supposed to be hunting demons, but they have to go through all of the world of the supernatural world, and you learn all this stuff. It's a good educational thing to learn all this stuff about the spirit world. One of the brothers got snatched down to hell in the last one of the cliffhanger of one of the episodes, or the season finale about 2 years ago. In season 4. In season 3 he got snatched down. When season 4 came, he got pulled out of hell. And they said, well, the only thing can pull you out of hell is an angel of the Lord. So they went and they looked, and they finally found this angel called Castiel, or they call him Castiel. Come to find out, this Castiel is a real angel. I just read to you, and if you get the Gustav Davis book, the definitive text, the Dictionary of Angels and Fallen Spirits, Gustav Davis. They use this book to write other books. Gustav Davis, the Dictionary of Angels, including fallen angels. Now, so Castiel is a real angel that sets over Capricorn. Castiel, on the show Supernatural, always shows up in a brown trench coat that looked like Columbo. Remember Columbo in his trench coat? But Columbo used to wear his button. Castiel is a little more, he wears his open. But he always have on the trench coat. And he comes and he helps these two boys, these two brothers out of situations. You see what I'm saying? Because he's this angel, and he appears and disappears. You see, they can call on him. He don't always come when they want, but he will show up. So now, he's an angel of Capricorn. My mother was a Capricorn. Now my brother, who never saw the show Supernatural, called me 2 months ago and said, I saw Mama. And she said, what are you doing here? And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, she had on a coat like Columbo. Never saw Supernatural where the angel Castiel wears a trench coat, the same color as Columbo. He said she had on a coat like Columbo. I said, now this is when you know you're dealing with spirit. Because you never saw Supernatural show. The show has been on, they're going into their 7th season. They just finished up season 6. You can go and buy the box sets at Best Buy. And I'd urge you to get all 6 seasons. Well, it's up to 5 right now. The sixth season is going to come out when season 7. I urge you to get all that. Supernatural. He's never seen Supernatural. He said she was wearing a trench coat like Columbo. He remembered Columbo. And I said, oh, you never saw Supernatural. That's when you know the spirit is giving you something, because there's no way he could have known. But then again, it is verified that whatever realm he went to, he saw my mother. He said she was wearing a coat like Columbo. And I'm like, no, there's an angel of the Lord called Castiel that wears a coat like Columbo on Supernatural that you never saw. So in so many words, this is what's happening in this particular station. My mother's energy is the energy of Capricorn. These are formulas. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got ruling planets. That astrology shit works. I don't believe it, no. The British government put astrology on trial in the early 1900s and lost. You see. So that planetary shit is real. The Bible is nothing but a book of astrology. So now try to understand this. If I said that if you follow these spirits as formulas, and she's a Capricorn which is ruled by Saturn, as she raises in the spirit realm over the course of years, she takes on that same energy, those angelic powers of Capricorn. She's now a version of Castiel. Now, I asked, could people call on her? She said, no. Then she said, well, then I figured it out. I said, oh, I got it. You don't want nobody to call on you because she's an angel of destruction. So, she's a Saturn angel, but she might be an angel of lightning, a violet thunders. Because she had a best friend die too. Another best friend made the transition 2 weeks ago. And so first thing I did is I went in the living room. I said her best friend was named Hattie Mildred. See, like I say now, when people die, they don't know what they're gonna do. They have no knowledge of the spirit world. Especially if you've been in religion all these years. So religion doesn't teach anybody about spirit. It's moralism. It didn't have nothing to do with spirituality. You see what I'm saying? In the beginning of times, that's why you see the book like the book of Coming Forth by Day. It's about getting to certain spiritual levels. Or you see the Rick Vader, they talking about the God. They never talk about moralism and never talk about human life. You see what I'm saying? Those are stuff that come later on. They talk about energies and frequencies. So when she passed, I went in the living room, I called on Anubis. I said, Anubis, take her hand. I imagine a white door. I said, now you're going to walk with this dog to that white door, and he's going to take you where you need to go. And I said, I'm Bobby Hemmitt, son of Osirian. She walked through that door. Next thing I know, a big ball of lightning came and hit a tree across the street and knocked the tree over into somebody's house. And I said, Glaciria, which was my mother's name. Or I said, Castiel, your ass, because my mother was there too. So I said, oh, you did this thing. I said, I just did it. It wasn't no more than 10 minutes. You see, so when she said, I said, well, can people call on you? She said, no. Then she said, no, I'm a destructive force. But now destructive force is not talking about evil. We're talking formulas. We're talking lightning. We're talking hurricanes. You see what I'm saying? You see, we get out of this moralism and all this wicked shit, we can understand how to move about stuff, and we can take back our destiny. What we're going to have to do, we're going to have to have a new way of thinking on what the warfare they done got on our ass. Do you know, as of now, there's nothing in the grocery store that you can eat, period? Huh? If you eat a salad, you can't eat the salad dressing. Unless you make it yourself. We're going to get into this stuff, but I want to finish off this Castiel thing now. So she's taking that station of the Castiel, the figure that we saw in Supernatural. You see what I'm saying? So my point here is that you might can track certain family members, especially the ones who always stood out, was kind of special down here. And if you can track them and know enough information, you can know where they are and what their station is and what their powers are now. You understand? So I'm just giving you a synopsis that my brother, who had no knowledge of the TV show, showed me when she sent the message to me, I'm now a form of Castiel. You see? Castiel. You see, so it's just interesting. Are y'all all right? The other day I was in the liquor store, and I had this Horace head on, and a girl was ringing me out. She saw this thing, and she could barely ring me up. Asked me whether I did it or whatever type thing. She was just transfixed. Now, I already know what was going on. What was going on was there was a part of her soul that was gravitating towards this type of thing because she probably was connected to the Horace thing or either a past life in Kemet or whatever type thing. You see? So everybody around her, even though she might have been thinking I'm looking at this pretty jewelry, it was something else going on. I said, well, one day I'll step to her, you see what I'm saying, and tell her what time it is. So my point here is we are waking up on a certain level. Now, dealing with this is interesting here, with this, because I've already tracked my mother and found out what station she was, and I'm dealing with this. Her name was Glaciria. Come to find out it's a name for Sirius, but we never know. I said, well, wait a minute, why would your mother name you this in 1935 when they was naming people Peggy, May, Gertrude? Why would your mother name you Glaciria in 1935? Flossie Mae, all kinds, Ada Mae. And now it's Bonquisha. We went to my niece's graduation, and it was Eda, Keita, Sheeta, Bonquisha, Dante, Ronte, Toronte. I was like, God damn. And this was mostly all black high school. You see. So my point is, why would they name you Glacier? And so my mother said, well, she said a white woman told her to name that. But she said the white woman told her it was in the Bible. But we never could find it. So if the white woman told you this name was in the Bible and you got it wrong, because the white woman told you the name of the Bible, but what we could find is, but it was interesting here when we would walk up to the store at the corner from where we lived in Mullins, there was a woman in there, a white woman in there, used to cut meat, was good friends with my mother, and she used to call her Glacius. Glacius. Glacius is in the Bible. So the name that the white woman told my grandmother was Glacius. But she translated it Glaciria. That's the transmission coming in. And that's the name for Sirius. You see what I'm saying? So we found the name, thanks to this woman named, the woman named Lou, you should always call her Glacius, because she was translating it back to where the white woman got it from, the woman that told my grandmother. But my grandmother translated it Glaciria. That's a transmission. You see what I'm saying? Just like the transmission of Castiel. So what we're trying to do now is to bring a human face to the gods. We always talk about we're the gods. So in order to do that, we have to find different things in different stations on which people we knew that lived actually are taking place in the heavens. You get where I'm coming from? So I'm just using that as an analogy. As an analogy. Now, what we want to deal with right now is this. First of all, certain foods that I had announced on Blog Talk and announced in New York, that this whole thing to enhance melanin. And those certain foods are wheat germ, vitamin E, alfalfa, chamomile, water, tart cherry juice, and another one is barley. That's why the ancient Egyptians invented beer. So if you want to get the closest beer on a domestic level that's closest to ancient Egyptians, they say drink Coors. Not the Coors Light. When you see the beige bottle, Coors. You see what I'm saying? But one of the things that the barley or the beer that they did had something to do medicinal to the melanin in the pineal gland. You see, tart cherry juice. Now, the number one killer of the pineal gland is soy. Soy. Soy is a brain poison. It's a carcinogen. Carcinogen causes cancer. That's why they put the cell phone on the carcinogens thing in June. In June. Soy is a carcinogen. Now, what this soy is synthetic. No, it's not synthetic, it's genetically modified. Genetically modified plastic. But you know, they use soy to make plastic. So when they genetically modified a soybean, that's all you see out here. They don't have nothing now in the fields that's not genetically modified. No corn, no nothing. But the soy, when they genetically modify it, it becomes a solution. In this particular place, it's a plastic and a binding agent that they use in food for shelf life. So if you take this plastic and put it in the food, it can have a shelf life of damn near 10 years. You see? So, I'll guarantee you this. Now go take an inventory, go down to the grocery store, go down to Kroger, and look and see, can you find any food in there, especially all your cookies, all your cakes, all your breads. You see, got either soy lecithin or lecithin, which is soy, a soybean oil, a soy flour, for longer shelf life. What's that?
They even have soy in toothpaste.
Yeah, ain't that something? They got it in all chewing gum now. You see. Now, all your cakes, all your candy, you see, all your little French fries. You know, in the interesting, you take a regular potato and cut it open, it turns brown before you can put it in the pan, but yet you got all these white ass French fries. That's because they soak them in formaldehyde. All that, all Ida and stuff. You see. But all your French fries now got the soy in, lecithin, all of your hash browns, everything. Any pasteurized cheese. Any pasteurized cheese. You get regular cheese because but any pasteurized cheese, you see, that's the cheese that go on your damn cheeseburgers. Cheeseburger buns. You see. So the government says that they got 3 main killers of the people they got to take. Well, with the Illuminati or whatever. They got to take 80% of the people off the planet. You see what I'm saying? So now, America is not going to be able to get out of this financial crisis. You can't create jobs that you done outsourced to China. And Barack Obama signed on. They're all mad with him now. Everybody, oh man, they hate Barack Obama. Do you know Barack Obama signed on to that? He knew that the country was going to fall, and he signed on to be that president. That's why, soon as he won, the damn stock market crashed. You see what I'm saying? But don't worry about it. He going to win again. Because he going to win again because because the reason why he going to win because Illuminati going to put his ass back up in there. You see? And he got that Shango energy. You see, he gonna win again. All that shit they talking all that shit. Watch, he gonna win again. You see. Now, so now, going back to this next, 20 minutes, okay, good. Going back to this, the soy is a brain poison. It's a solution. It's a plastic. Ain't they got some shit called plastique that's a damn bomb? I guarantee you, if you look into that, there might be some soy up in there. We couldn't find nothing without soy. Vegetable oil, soy. You see? So there's no way around it and stuff. You see?
What about the baby food?
Baby food, soy. All of it. That Infamil, Similac, all that, soy. Ensure, all of that, soy. What? Pubic hair, and not only that too. The soy, once the baby eats the soy, later on in life they develop other type of allergies, like the peanut allergies and all other type of stuff. That's because they drank the soy and stuff and all. So this stuff, what this stuff does is this stuff shuts down the pineal gland. It's a brain poison. They call it a carcinogen, means it's a cancer. And so we were waiting for the concentration camps and the troops to come out in the street. No, the government don't play like that. They put it all in the damn food. In the supermarket, they say you can't eat nothing out of the supermarket, nothing. So now, how do you do this? If the soy is in everything, because the number one killer there is the chemtrails, which they found out you kind of work past that. We like them babies, kids and shit. Chemtrails, soy, and fluoride. Now you saying the soy is not in the chewing gum. You see what I'm saying? All processed food, in order for it to have shelf life, it's got to be soy. You see? So now, you can't eat nothing.
Detox.
You can't eat nothing. I don't know what you can eat. My brother, he's mastered it. We don't know what he eats. He eats whatever he eats, but shit.
It's bad.
Now, you say, well, what's the best thing? Well, the best thing if the food is good. Let's say even the ground now don't even produce the damn nutrients of what you talk about, the vegetables. That ain't nothing but cartilage or some shit you eat. That's why if you notice all the fruit tastes like shit. They got grapes big as baseballs.
Yeah. So a lot of the fruits still don't have seeds.
No, you have no seeds and all that type of stuff. So the point is, so what is the solution? The solution is your brain and your mind can produce every nutrient you need, because everything that's in the universe in the ground, in nature, is also inside of the melanin, inside of the body, inside of the DNA. But the key here is, so in order to offset that, you just got to limit the amount of times you eat. You see? So it's either 1 meal a day, but 3 meals a day is out. And they used to talk about how the gods used to be, even in the Bible, they talk about man living to 300 years and 200 years. They were talking about the Africans. They were gods, and they used to live for years, and they said, now Uncle Elijah Muhammad said, well, they said, well, how did the gods get in their 200-300 years, how did they die? They said they started eating 3 meals a day when they wanted to kill themselves. You see? And if you ever get down to 1 meal a day or damn near half a meal a day, you can really look and see how insane it is to eat 3 fucking meals a day. Now you gotta pick what one you want to do. It can be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but nevertheless it can only be 1 meal. And this is how you can limit this stuff. You see what I'm saying? You know, on that particular level. You see. But what this thing does is, so in so many words, the entire supermarket is a war against the pineal gland. And the people to rise. So they know the gods are rising. So how do you stop the gods from rising or put a monkey wrench in it? You see what I'm saying? You give them the most dangerous thing they got, that's soy. And they say the Asians don't even eat that shit over in Asia. Yeah. And now the thing about it here is, come to find out, the soy, so somebody said, well, so, what about organic? No, if I give you a genetically modified seed, it don't matter whether you grow it organically. It's genetically modified from the time you get it. It's like the high fructose corn syrup. They say this is made out of regular sugar cane. No, it's genetically modified sugar cane. That's the difference. You see. You genetically modify something, you make a solution, which is a chemical. It's no different than the pharmaceutical industry. You see what I'm saying? It's no different than the pharmaceutical industry. So this is how this thing does. Now, and I swear to you, all you got to do, if you got your glasses, people can't see, or the people can read, just go down to the supermarket and read all the packages. Everything was soy. And even if it's got vegetable oil, that's soy. It's soy in it, you see. And that's a brain killer to the pineal gland. So this is warfare going on this particular level. You see what I'm saying? On this particular level. And then it gets worse when it comes to the whole fish thing. We'll go into that. Huh? Peanut oil? Well, if you don't have peanut allergies, that's good. What are the good oils? Sesame oil? Olive oil, sesame oil, peanut oil, coconut oil.
Red palm oil.
Yeah, palm oil, any of those things like that. But canola oil, they say,
Oil.
rapeseed is bad? No, rapeseed is good.
No, bad.
Somebody's saying it's bad, somebody's saying it's good. Yeah. Oh. So you say canola oil is made from a grape seed, and that's bad. Yeah. Grape seed.
Yeah. Not grape.
Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's so bad that the insects won't even eat. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, the good oil. Okay. Okay, so there's grape seed, which is good, and rape seed, which is bad. Yeah. You see, so you got to turn all this particular stuff around, around and stuff. You see what I'm saying? So any kind of melanin foods is also, cherries, blueberries, grapes if you can get them, grape juice with no sugar, which the Jews sell. One called Kadim is real good, and a couple of ones if you go to these Jewish places and stuff like that.
Now, have you heard anything about the heirloom seeds? It's a small group of people that they have some of the original seeds and they sell them out, usually private growers.
They probably do have people that have original seeds, yeah.
Heirloom seeds.
Yeah. You see. What? Cargill Company, yeah. And like I said, you know, black beans are good for melanin, you know, if you can eat beans. You see. That cut out about 2 years for my ass. you know, going to 50, you know, I can eat them. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be some aroma. You see. You know, so there's several things, also that you can do. You can do. Now, it's interesting here. The reason why this is happening now is the reason why they have to go in and they have to attack us now because our DNA is changing. There's a brother named Andrew Brown in Chicago called me the other night, and he said, either Tuesday or Wednesday, the police shot a brother in the head in Chicago, point blank range in the back of his head. And the bullet didn't even go through the skull. Nigga sitting at home telling me, I'm all right. The bullet didn't even go through the skull. What I'm trying to make here is the DNA is changing and we becoming Superman. And I'm going to explain all that when we come back. But what I want to do right now, you want to break in 5 minutes, you saying that you want to change the tape? Oh, okay, good. Okay, change the tape, yeah. Just raise your hand when you're ready. So the bullet didn't even pierce the skull. You see? And they talk about the police shooting, but they never mention the miracle. They never mention the miracle. You see what I'm saying? So this is stuff that's going on. So they got to try to retard the process of the gods rising. You see what I'm saying? And so as a result, like I say, you know, they're doing it through the supermarket. They're doing it through the supermarket. If somebody's already lost their appetite, then consider yourself blessed. Because you know, since October and now and stuff, you see, I don't have an appetite at all. Sometimes I get weak and know I gotta eat something, and it's just a little. I only need a little bit, but it's not because I have hunger anymore. That's gone. And so what is happening here is the more the energies now are coming into this particular sector of the universe, you don't have to eat all that now because you're getting those type of energies if you can get enough sleep. Sleep is the key. To let your body partake into becoming this particular God. And the certain energies that's coming in, you see what I'm saying, through the Kundalini energy, but it's all based on if you can get enough sleep. You see what I'm saying? And then, and that's how this whole thing is done. So you don't necessarily need food if you can get enough sleep to enhance the spiritual nutrition that is already in the melanin. See, it's already in the melanin. You see what I'm saying? So they talk about that mana in the Bible where they said we was in the wilderness for 40 years. Well, that whole wilderness thing period was the 500 years of us being in hell. You see what I'm saying? You see, when we became a nation outside of the original nation, outside of the original nation and went through slavery and all of that, that's the wilderness they're talking about. You see what I'm saying? And so they say we ate from that mana. That mana is melanin. You see, it's melanin. You see. And so my point here is if you can tap into that enough, you don't have to worry about what's in the grocery stores. You see, Krispy Kreme donuts, soy. You see, it's in everything. You can't run from it. There's nothing out here that don't have soy in it. And they pitched that to the health food people years before they started adding it to the ghetto. They're the biggest soy eaters. You see? And so the government said everything has to have soy in it. Plastic. Genetically modified soybeans is plastic. It's a solution. That's why They put it in everything for a longer shelf life. But they also, it destroys the pineal gland, or it calcifies it. So we can see why people that's been dead all these years, when they said, when Nostradamus said black people in America were supposed to come in their own in the 1990s. They were supposed to rise up consciously. When your boy Edgar Cayce said some people will meet a person named John Pineal, you see, in the New Age, and yet we only got you people in this room and maybe a couple of thousand conscious people worldwide. 0 point something. That means that somebody came in and fucked with the consciousness. You see, messed up the program. The first leg they did was the brother that turned me on to consciousness years ago used to travel with Jesse Jackson everywhere. Now Jesse Jackson, despite whatever he did or whatever he was into, he know a lot of shit that was going on with this government. Jesse Jackson said that in the 1970s they said, if we don't do nothing, we gotta get rid of that goddamn afro. The government say this is the most dangerous thing that has happened to us in the 400 years of us living with these goddamn Africans. If they can identify with their hair, you see what I'm saying, outside of the Eurocentric thing, and this is long before dreads and all that. That was happening in the islands at the time. It was the afro, and they said they worked around the clock to get rid of the afro. And we must ask this question. Who invented the no-lie relaxer? Because I remember in the early 70s, you put a perm in your head, your brains get blown out. You remember in the 70s, they had in the early 70s and the 60s, you fuck around with a perm and get eat out here. We had a girl up there at Benedict we called eat out here. Then that no-lie relaxer came out. And we must ask the question, who put that shit out? See what I'm saying? Well, let me give you a hint on some stuff right here, on what they're talking about here in another country. This is a henna. This is a henna dye. This is a henna that you put in your hair to dye your hair, different colors. I want to read something to you that comes. This is from Brazil. So we would never get this type of stuff in products in America. But it's called Suya Henna Brazil. Sura is the one. You get it at most health food stores. But I want to read something to you. That Linda pointed out. She said, you need to come and see, am I hearing this right? Our unique process does not strip the melanin from the hair, from the cortex of the hair, but rather forms a protective coat around the rich, permanent color around each strand. So they're saying that the no-lie relaxer and the dyes and stuff, it strips melanin from the hair.
That's right.
But this is outside, this is coming from Brazil. And white people buy these products. Which means that even they, you see what I'm saying, have melanin in some part. Might not be as much as yours. But yours being that afro, they had to get rid of that because they said that was your antennas. And that's how you came into your consciousness. It was through Samson's hair. And what happened? When they cut his hair off, what happened? He went blind. Okay? So this is how they was able to stop the consciousness in the 1980s. So when the 1990s got here, we were deaf, dumb, and blind. Only a few people around the country came into consciousness. And all our family members and everybody out there is just dead. You want to stop it? Okay.
Oh, they doing all that doing it. Oh, so you don't stop.
Okay, we're back on? Okay, yes. All right. I want to start with my infomercial because I want to show you something that we have produced. Something to open the third eye.
There you go.
This, let me show you how it looks real. We have these here, and they've been doing real well because you want to get to the point where as you want to train the third eye where your visions and all that start to come in. Or you get thought. A lot of times your psychic energy is based on how you get transmission, and a lot of times you'll get something and you just cast it away because you don't think that you have the ability to even think profoundly like that. But that's your spirit realm, your own higher self giving you transmissions. This is a magic mirror that we're dealing with here as when we go on the break, because we still got the angelic stimulus packages for the people that know about those. We have the purple disc, which you know, like I said, that purple disc done saved some people behind in Iraq. One guy had his purple plate on his purple disc, and everybody got killed around him except him. Why? Because that tachyon energy, which was created by Nikola Tesla, you see what I'm saying? Well, he got it from the Akashic records, set a force field out from around him, and protected him in Iraq. One of the brothers. You see. So now, this is a magic mirror, and it's been working. Because what we want to do here is it's time for us to train our third eyes. Now, this is very powerful. This is very powerful because a brother that opened for me in New York stood in front of it, and the energy hit his back. And he said, I got to move from out in front of this. So not only does, what you do is you stare into this magical mirror as a exercise. You put it on the wall, and as an exercise, you just stare into it and you get a certain aspect of the dark. Because see what happens with melanin, when you close your eyes, that's when the melanin starts in the dark. So this works the same way, but this is like a black hole. And when you stare into this magic mirror, into this magic mirror, you can strengthen your third eye, and not only that, you start, the thoughts will start coming, because a lot of the psychic stuff comes with thoughts. You be looking for stuff like they have on TV to see visual stuff, but it comes as transmissions of thoughts. So it'll do that, but this stuff can also do with visions. Because the third eye, the pineal gland, is an actual thermostat for the entire body. You can look into this thing, come to find out now, and just stare into the darkness, and you can begin to heal what is wrong with you also. So what is wrong with you also? So we want to put that infomercial up there. And this is for TV land for the people. You know, we do little advertisements, you know. We got that angelic stimulus package. We got a picture package. It's got going on almost 70 pictures now. It's like 67 pictures and stuff. So you can call it at 678-358-1055 and get some of these things after I'm gone. But we got a lot of this stuff here. We have a lot of this stuff today. Which way? This way?
That's good. No, I was telling you to move.
Oh, you were telling me to move. Okay, yeah. Okay. So what we want to do right now, I'm gonna put this back up. And so I would implore you, people got this stuff, and this stuff is actually working with this new third eye. Like I said, we got the purple plates here, we got the stimulus checks, we got all that here for when we go to the break. Y'all take advantage of this and stuff. But this one right here, the reason why I also want to explain, this magical mirror, the reason why it's so powerful is because they sell these magical mirrors in metaphysical shops and stuff, and it's supposed to work like a crystal ball. You look into them, and that's what this type of stuff that Nostradamus and them was doing. They can see the future. You see what I'm saying? But now, what you can do is you can get these things and go in and laminate them, all sorts of people. But you don't have to do anything to it. It work with the way it is, but some people might want to laminate them. But anyway, what it is the reason why these are very powerful, because they had these things on the temple walls in Egypt, What's different between these and the magic mirrors that they have now is these are put back into with the melanetta and the actual deities in the Neteru to enhance it. You got Isis, you got Neptune, you got the Ayurveda. Down here you got Horus. You got Horus and Anubis. You see, so based on the symbols put back into it, it enhanced it and brought it back to its original power. So this is something that you might want to get down with. So right now let's go into a question and answer right here. And then we can start back the lecture. But sometimes people have certain things that I've said at the first part of the lecture, and if you don't go into a question and answer, I find out you never what's wrong? Oh, you want me to pull the stool out?
If you good,
Okay,
you good, bro.
So we want to give a question and answer based on some of the past things we was talking about, and then we can go on. So what's that?
Right. You mentioned Diane, and you said there's 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Who was,
They're called the 3 sisters of fate, or 3 gods of fate.
okay. Yesterday, you know that new game show Deal or No Deal? That was a white woman up there, and she had 3 sisters. She had 3 sisters who, like her family, you know, came with her and everything. They could yell out some answers or whatever. But it was 3 sisters, and I think she chose suitcase number 3. But she was losing the whole game. She let her 3 sisters answer for her. She was losing the whole game, but she left out with $80,000 at the end. So it was like,
that energy, the 3 fates and the 3 sisters. That energy. Yeah, that's some stuff that can happen. Like take for instance, on the show Supernatural, they drive a 1964 Impala. So Chevrolet now is doing different things where they're taking these older cars and making newer cars that's similar to how they used to look. So they got the new Camaro, you know, Ford got the new Mustang. So they took one of the stuff that's the Impala from 1964, 65 or whatever. I think it's 65. And it's kind of superimposing on this new Impala they got now. Now, these boys in Supernatural, because they're dealing with the spirit world, they drive around in this black Impala, and all of a damn sudden, when Chevrolet put that new motif, or that old motif into this newer car similar, that car's selling like hotcakes. That Impala that's out there now, you can't drive 5 steps, I know in Atlanta, without seeing 3 of them. I could count 30 or 40 a day. So 30 or 40 a day. So there is something to putting magic in stuff. So Chevrolet said, well, hell, this show is very popular, so we're gonna take advantage of that. We're gonna take advantage of that. What's that, sister?
Is watermelon good to eat as well as foods?
If you can find a good one, yeah, because the watermelon is connected also to the goddess Yin and Yang. You know, watermelon is originally comes from Africa. You see, that's why the only reason why they connected us with watermelon, because watermelon originally came from Africa. You see what I'm saying? As well as coffee that's grown around the world. If you can find a good, yeah, watermelon is good, but you know, on that particular level. But it's interesting because the number 1 eaters of watermelon in the world is Asians. You see, they love it and stuff like that. So, but you know, like I said, I don't know about a seedless watermelon, but yeah. What's that?
Yeah, I think I heard you say sometime about the music, the classic records as opposed to the modern CDs and others.
Yeah, any kind of LP is real powerful for the melanin. I should put that on the list too. Any kind of album, because an album is a black, it's carbon. So any kind of plastic that they make first is liquid looking. And they have to cook it into the darkest form, the carbonated form. That's what they have to do with rubber to make black car tires. So anytime they cook it down to its carbon, that's what melanin is, carbon. Dark matter. You see what I'm saying? Dark matter. So then you have a black album, then you have a diamond needle. You see what I'm saying? And the diamond, you know, what is that but crystallized fossil or whatever. So they was finding out that black people was healing themselves on the weekend when they was dealing with the LPs. Then they had to go to hologram. And you see, they had to take it from the analog to hologram. Hologram. And you know, so it has no, other than if you can get into the actual music of it, a CD has no spiritual value to the healing value like the LPs did. You see. And to let you know, the LPs, it has grooves in it. And so you actually have an original recording. LP is good, and cassette tapes were good. That's why they had to go from VHS to DVD. DVD looks great, but a VHS was a lot warmer. Because everything comes off a tape. Because even albums are made from big vats of reel to reel. So the tapes were good, the tapes were good, the cassettes was good, and all that kind of stuff. Because that's dealing with the whole melanin thing. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, and so I have it was a $3,000 receiver. And I got it for, it was $3,000. I got it for like 6. Blew it up in a month and went back and got another one, which was only $1,500, but it was an upgraded from the 3,000. See, whenever new technology come out, it's very high until a lot of rich people buy it. Then it goes down. So by the time I went back to get the other one, although it was $1,500, and I paid something like $4 for it at a pawn shop, it was still an upgraded model from the $3,000. And this thing, if you put on an album, and anybody dead, if you put on an album, like if I put on Billie Holiday, she will come into the damn house. You see, because the not only LP is sophisticated, but the receiver is so sophisticated, they don't even remember people used to go in the army to go get the receivers. I'm going in the army to get some. That's because they got shit that they don't sell in this country. Why? Because they'll tell you it's 100 watts. Don't sell no 100 watts in this country. They'll tell you it's 100 watts. And in America, they'll give you 30 watts or 40 watts and call it 100 watts. So I had to get this one in through Canada. So on Beltane is Mayday. Mayday, the witches deal with all that. On Beltane, we played some music, and we put on some Tina Marie music, and she came to the house. She said, "No, I want you to play me for a minute." And so I got 5,000 albums. So I have to try to dig out the albums. But it's interesting here. Whenever I might have played one album, but the other 5,000, the other albums was mixed in with the 5,000 albums. But for some reason, every time one of them spirits come, those albums are always in a stack that I can find. James Brown did that one time. You see what I'm saying? James Brown did that one time. You see what I'm saying? But she came to the house, and I played like 7 of her LPs. She was there. So that's how we dealing with this whole spirit thing. With the healing and everything. But music is melanin put to scale. It is our DNA put to scale. You see what I'm saying? Now, what you can do, if you got a CD, the best thing to do is to take a CD and play it in a DVD player. Because a DVD put back certain programs. You see, they'll have DST, they'll have Dolby, they have about 5 different systems. MP3, and what they have done, they put back some of the things because they need all those special items so the DVD can read itself in the visual aspect. So they had to put back certain things and all. So if you're going to play a CD, play it through a DVD player and you get a better quality. And then what you want to do, you don't have to go get you got a DVD player. So you don't have to go and get a $3,000 system. You just got to go get professional headphones. So you will see Sony, then it'll have professionals. And anytime you see in the studios, they either got one that starts with an S out of Germany, professional headphone. It's not sure, it's another one, it's a longer name. And then they got Sony professionals. So if you want to tap into that melanin, only thing you need to do is play it through a CD player, or it can even be a CD Walkman or something, don't matter. Get you some Sony professional. Sony might have 10 different headphones out here. You got to get the one that Jay-Z and all them motherfuckers be in the studio. You will see this one that got blue and red on it. Yeah, you have to have, because there's certain audios and stuff that you got to hear when you're in the studio. So it's either one, it's called something, there's an S on the side of a one. But if you don't, you need to get the Sony professional and play the CD through a DVD player. Yeah, what's that?
That question for you, Brother Bob. My father told me the story a long time ago. You're talking about spirits earlier.
Yeah.
When my father was probably about 13, 1961, he was coming back hunting here in North Carolina. And his aunt was at the house waiting for him. So they had a conversation. So she decided to leave. And my grandfather and my grandmother came to the house 5 minutes later to tell my father that his aunt had passed away 6 hours ago. Well, he had just talked to her 5 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
what would you call that? I mean,
now you saying that he said he had talked to her 5 minutes ago
before my grandfather and my grandmother came to the house to let him know that she had passed away 6 hours ago.
Oh, well, it means that the spirit came. And it was a physical body?
Physical body.
Physical body, yeah, the spirit can come like that in a physical body. It can animate itself, but it's still a spirit. Yeah, stuff like that happens all the time.
So there was a lot of energy there.
Yeah, stuff like that happens all the time to warn people and stuff. People have seen, it's interesting here because I knew this white boy. He would go out to the club on Friday nights. This night, he worked so hard, he was so tired. So he went in the house and fell on the bed and went to sleep. The next night, on Saturday night, when he went out to the club, everybody at the club was like, hey man, we saw you last night. You was standing across the street, and we was hollering at you, and you was looking at us, but you wouldn't come across the street. Why were you tripping? What was going on? He's saying 4, 5, 6 people said that to him. What had happened was, when he fell asleep, he astro traveled. He must have wanted to go to the club severely, but he couldn't. His body wouldn't let it. So what he did is he astro traveled to the club, and his spirit was so intense of him wanting to go, and he was dreaming about it, so he appeared, although he was home asleep. You see, but they could see him across the street. You see what I'm saying? So that stuff, there's all kind of stuff in the spirit world. And as a matter of fact, that's what we're going to have to be. Let me show you what we're going to have to. It's already happening to us. Look, they announced 2 weeks ago that black people, based on the unemployment, are now in the Depression era. 1929, they say our status right now, we're in the Depression era. But niggas are walking around like it's 1999. So obviously we have acclimated ourselves out of not having so much until it's regular shit for us. But they're saying based on our status, we are in the Depression era. You see, we just live at home with your mama, your cousin. I don't know how we do it, but we have become such masters of it, so it's not even registering with the naked eye, but the statistics is coming out that we're in the Depression era. So obviously we have already learned how to live magically. And one of the ways how to live magically here is to cut down on your desires. See, what puts you in slavery is how much desires you have. If you can eliminate the desires, you see, Who says you gotta have a Mercedes? Let me tell you something about desires. Because another thing when I was out at Benedict and stuff, I used to go out to clubs and I would start plotting all day on what I was gonna wear to be the center of attraction. And when I left Columbia, South Carolina to go to Atlanta, I had a bag full of fucking phone numbers of women, and I didn't know who the hell they were. Just because I took an old man advice, he said, talk to 100, you're bound to get 2. You got a lot of brothers. Now, there's a lot of brothers. If you're a black man, you're looking for a woman, you don't need a dating agency. You need a psychiatrist. See what I'm saying? My oldest brother is taking school teachers to McDonald's and say, you better look at the bottom of that list right there. That's that a discount list. When you go above that shit, it ain't happening. He's taking school teachers to McDonald's. That's how bad it is out here for women. So if you're a brother and you can't get a woman, you need a psychiatrist. And you say, well, how do you get a woman? You get up on her. See what I'm saying? I knew a nigga from the Nation of Islam. I said, I can't go nowhere with you, man. Because we never get nowhere. He decided he gonna talk to every woman he saw. No, stop the car. Stop the car. And that's what a South Carolina nigga used to do. He used to get up on their ass. So if you got a problem with women, it's because, look, man, get up on them. Talk to 100. Bound to get 2. You see, this confidence. You see, now where was I? But anyway, but it's the depression era. So what it is, we are dealing with the magic now. We have learned something mystical because they were saying, look, you white people have to turn to black people to learn how to live. Because we have mastered that shit. See what I'm saying? I don't know how, but somehow we do it. So they are showing you right now there's a separation. We are in the God realm now, although we're in the depression, but it ain't registering. Look, I walked through the Hartsfield International Airport. I used to lecture 3 times out of the month, or 2 times out of the month. So for some reason, I lectured in January in New York, and I lectured again in June in New York. I didn't have no lectures in between. By choice. Because I was going through a dimension. When I finally got back on the lecture circuit and I went through the Hartsfield International Airport, they got a big old radiation machine. Remember they was talking about these machines and everybody didn't want to go and stuff. So I already know this. What you do is you eat the radiation, you take the radiation. That's your shit. That's what that melanin is. So you neutralize it in your mind and you can go with it. But I wasn't even thinking that day. I was damn near drunk. I was staggering through there, and I went into the radiation, I went into the booth, and they couldn't find me on the radar. And the woman said, you need to go back through again. I went back through again, they couldn't find me at all. She said, oh shit, this is going to be a long process, and I don't feel like I'm trying to get off work now. So she said, no, you go over there and get searched by that guy over there. And me, I'm trying to get through this motherfucker before they know what's happening. So I went over there, I said, now you can put your hand all up my butt, whatever. I'm trying to get here and get on that plane. Because I know what just went down. I was in another dimension, and that radar couldn't pick me up. And I didn't want this to be an incident, you see what I'm saying, where they shut down the fucking airport. So I said, no, come on, here you go, man. Search all up the belt and everything. And I got the hell on. But what it was in another dimension. That's what's happening now. Now this is what's happening. We had a lot of kittens, stray kittens in the back. You feed them. You never touch them. That way they're mean spiritual. They stray kittens, you feed them, or what have you. Our kittens went down to about 3 or 4 kittens, and then went down to 2. And one of the little kittens ran in the house and ran up under the Urzuli altar and disappeared. Every time she was running the altar, she would disappear. And then a few days later, all those kittens went into another dimension. There's a big ass tree in our backyard, and they can go into another dimension in that tree. The dimensions now are around these old ass trees. That's why they're getting real scared about what's happening here. Stuff is around these old trees. You see what I'm saying? There's a book you need to get called Tree of Enchantment. See the name of that book. The Tree of Enchantment. Let me see who the name of it is. Bear with me one. By Orion Foxwood. Orion Foxwood. Tree of Enchantment by Orion Foxwood. Okay. Any more questions? Because I'm going to go into this other science in a few minutes. But any questions? Yeah.
What is this feeling like? You're walking on the city and you feel like you try to do something or try to get something, you feel like wobbling or you got your move too fast before on the fall. Like I'm gonna reach for that, I go get it before I can get to it.
That's all those are dimensions. See, the speed and everything is breaking down now. We're living in a world that's actually gone. Did you see the Ebony magazine? The one, I got it right here. There's an Ebony magazine. I'll show you one to get. I ain't got that. It's an Ebony magazine. It had a movie Jumping the Broom on. The movie Jumping the Broom about 2 months ago. In there they say 300,000 people of color disappeared last year. They just disappeared. 300,000 people of color disappeared last year off the planet. No, it might have been off the, in this country. In this country, people are missing. There's a movie you need to get rent called The Vanishing on 7th Street. The Vanishing on 7th Street. What's that?
It's a movie out when you spoke about the old tree, about this, it was during the Nazi era, about a young, I don't know what you're Polish or whatever, but she was going to this tree and dealing with the,
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah,
Pan's Labyrinth.
yeah,
They talked about the tree. Yeah, all that. These trees, these old trees, see, the trees are some of the oldest things on the planet. And so this new world is coming in through these trees. Now the animals can go in and out. The animals can go in and out. So this stuff is breaking up. We just got to learn to live spiritually and stop taking this world literally. You see what I'm saying? Stop taking this world literally. What's that?
You was talking about only eating once a day.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to me. It's like some days I can't go past once a day. So I just can't eat past.
Now you're not supposed to, because
someone told me no.
that's called your light body. Your light body is rising, it's gaining more power. And the more you eat, the more sluggish you feel because you're vibrating at higher levels. So the less you eat, the more you vibrate.
That looks like Stargate. I think that's where they got that from.
Yeah, the more you eat, yeah, the more you you vibrate. Now take for instance, throwing up is good. Anybody ever throw up? When you throw up, your third eye starts pulsating. All I got to do to throw up is bend down for a few minutes. And there's a nozzle, there's a chakra down there that cuts on. And it eliminates things. If you notice, when like down in Peru and in Africa, when they want you to go on a spiritual journey, they have to give you some, if they're going to they're going to smoke the peyote, they're going to smoke this, the ayahuasca, they're going to do some other stuff that they have in Africa. The first thing they do is they give you this root And it's a root you take, and it throws up everything in your body. That's because that's a shock. See, Premier talked about that. He said that's a chakra down there, it's a nozzle. And when you do it, your third eye, start pulsating. So it is good to throw up sometime. You see, and so what's getting ready to happen is this. Then it's going to get to the point where as there's so much energy coming in, and your spirit is rising at a certain level, till you're going to throw up anyway. And sometimes it ain't about what you eat. It's about a certain energy and stuff, and your body is trying to purge itself so it can get that energy. So it can get that energy and stuff. So it is good to do that. Let me go into a couple other things. There's an angel. They have these gods that you see. They used to have these ancient gods in pre-dynastic time. And then when younger generations would come, they would always make the ancient god into the devil. Only because they didn't understand the history or the knowledge of the ancient gods. So one man's god becomes another man's devil. So one of the most ancient gods is a god called Belial. It comes from a god called Baal. And Baal is another form of a god, Set. See, you got pre-dynastic Set that ruled long before the other ones. Then you have, from Set, you got one part of the Samaria, you got Ash, you got Baal, you got Belial, then you got Beelzebub, and later on it was reduced to the devil. The one called Belial is also pronounced Belial. There's a movie called Dylan Dog. It's going to be coming on video very soon. The guy that played the last Superman movie played in it. It's called Dylan Dog. And they got an artifact that they're trying to use so that they can bring back one of the Earth's original gods. They'll either call him Belial on there or they'll call him Belial. When they bring this god back, he comes back through Tay Diggs. Anybody know Tay Diggs? Yeah. Now Tay Diggs is a black. When this thing came back through Tay Diggs, it made Tay Diggs look light skinned. So in this movie, they would do a ritual to bring back this ancient god that used to be, he's an ancient form of Set, Ash, Baal, Belial. They got several names, so they're bringing back one of the most ancient gods, or the most ancient god. And when they brought him back, he was 10 times blacker than Tay Diggs. And they brought him back through Tay Diggs. So what they were doing a ritual. They always do these rituals. They always do these rituals. Now, let me go into this right now. Let me go into this right now. Okay, this is one of the great mysteries. In 1935 or 1933, one of them, 35, 33, whatever, you can get the history of it. But I want to show you this. In the 1930s, two people got transmissions and came up with this comic book character. This comic book character. One of them is Superman. The original name wasn't Superman, but the spirit world gave him Superman because if they would have put this out in comic books, they would have been dealt with. Because in European masonry, not black masonry, not no Prince Hall and drinking liquor and driving a cab, fish fries, and I got a little light, let this light shine, and 33 years of Jesus. We're not talking about no Buffalo Fred Flintstone Club. We challenge any anybody say Prince Hall got any damn thing to do with anything mystical or ancient. But it's spiritual now. It's spiritual. It's just not this. You just don't get me wrong now. The shit is spiritual. You know, you talk about we the first motherfucker got a charter over here. Remember they talking about that story? The white man throwed his charter in the water. Boston Tea Party. So now it's spiritual. Don't get me wrong. If Prince Hall is spiritual, but it's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not that type of thing where they're dealing with the Star Sirius. And the Star Sirius is on the lodge or every door or every white mason. The Star Sirius is on the lodge. So they had to name this thing Superman because the original concept was the Star Sirius. The Star Sirius. So Superman and the Star Sirius. Remember I said, now I've been saying this shit since I've been coming here since the 90s. Remember I said there's a different brand of Negro in South Carolina? Yeah. I want to ask you what state is this motherfucking thing here shaped like?
That's why I kept looking at it.
Look. They talking about you. You the Superman from the Star Sirius. Okay, let's roll. Let me show you something right quick. I had this brand new pair. I bought 2 pairs. I didn't want to dare had a pair that I had put on my ass. Go to Walmart. Get the Superman cap. Man of Steel. Man of Steel. Who is the African Man of Steel? Ogun. That's our shit. Go to what you call it and get you some of these. Especially the ones you little women you don't work no more. Just get you one of these. It's a brand new pair. I bought 2 pair. You see what I'm saying? I had these in the drawer. So get you go to Walmart. They got Superman t-shirts. They got Superman hats. Get anything Superman. You women can get this, but you know they came out with these women drawers like this in the 80s. So you can get a man's pair now because they got women underwear that look like this. So you can even get you a pair. Just get your pair that fit. But get these. Now you brothers, get you a pair of these, and then go get you a can of Steel Reserve beer. It's called Steel Reserve beer. And see what might happen. The Superman they're talking about was from Sirius. Now they just got through with 10 years of Smallville. Smallville is the story that came out after 9/11 on Superman growing up in a small town, his boyhood. And they went from his boyhood out of high school up until they graduate college, up until they're grown. And they just ended it this spring. They just ended it this spring. Now, the Smallville. Well, that's 10 years of box sets. So what I suggest is, if you got these pawn shops, you go to these pawn shops, you can buy box sets, for real cheap. I don't know, do they have a Cash America here? They don't have that in here. But you can get the Cash America pawn shop. Yeah. Yeah, you go there, you can get the box sets, 10 years of the TV shows. But they just ended up Superman as he grew into the adult. The last season was started in September, ended in May. The last season, they showed who Superman was. Lois Lane went to an Egyptian exhibit. This is in the show Smallville. Went to an Egyptian exhibit and got a hold to a necklace that she was possessed by Aset or Isis. she went to this exhibit and they had the remains of Osiris, the ashes or something, in a, what you call it, canopic jar. And somehow she was strong enough to get Superman on the table, lock him down in a sarcophagus, and do a ritual to restore the body of Osiris to Superman. Now, of course, you know, the ritual, they got halfway, they go, no, that ain't what they do. When they do the ritual took place and it was successful. What they was trying to say is Superman is the risen Osiris in the last Smallville. And who is Osiris? Osiris is the god of the perfect black. So when they was talking about Superman, they was talking about the star Sirius, which is called the soul of Isis, and the Greek word for Sirius is Osiris also. You see what I'm saying? And then you have Orion's belt. And the brightest star in the heavens is Sirius. You got 3 stars on Orion's belt, which represents 3 pyramids of Giza Plateau. But the brightest star is Sirius. And the Dogons say that the Nomos, the fish people, is coming back from Sirius, and when they come back, we will be ready. And that's the reason why we had the Gulf oil spill disaster, to stop the return of the Nomo and give us the final solution of death. What's that, brother?
You know, the Superman thing, you know, it is spiritual because every white boy that put on the Superman costume either got killed or got in an accident.
Or got in an accident. Or got in an accident. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can get the go to Walmart or Target. You get the T-shirts. You get the drug. This shit say Man of Steel. I said that's so good. You get you this Man of Steel drug, and then get you some Steel Reserve beer. See what happens. Damn some Viagra. But the women buy you some Man of Steel drugs. You see? You see? So just letting you know what time it is. Okay. Let me see here. How much you want to go before a break?
We got 49 minutes.
49 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, can we roll something out? Like I said, again, I'm going to go into some stuff. Let me see some stuff that we can cover right now. Now, this is interesting because like C. Hell used to say that your pirates were the Moors. You see, all that were the Moors. They literally took a people's history. After they got ousted from Spain, they got on ships and stopped, dealing with people. So that whole Moorish thing. You see, even the last little Pirates of the Caribbean, they had a little voodoo thing and a little voodoo doll and stuff like that. Making Jack Sparrow do shit based on them moving the doll and all this type of stuff. But that was your Moors. You see what I'm saying? Is what that was. I just wanted to put that there and to let you know that in actuality, we got to revise so much history. You see, we got to revise so much doggone history and all, of things that's actually happening here. Give me some other questions right quick. Anybody?
On YouTube, they were showing that we now have 2 suns, 2 moons, and we have a new Earth.
Second Earth.
A second Earth.
Yeah.
Nothing about that.
Well, let me tell you how this thing goes down, and this is why you gotta, you gotta try to understand how the government does stuff. That's the most important thing. All that stuff that you're seeing out there is happening inside of us.
Yeah. So
if there's the 2 moons, 2 Earths, and all that kind of stuff, that is stuff that's coming on the inside of us, with our DNA changing. Just like I said, this guy got shot in the damn head. Got shot in the back of the head, point blank range. And the bullet didn't even pierce his skull. That's the return of the gods. You see, that's the return of the gods. You see what I'm saying? And so that's just interesting here on how on how if anything that is happening out there, you gotta trace it back to what's going on the inside of our body. Now, you remember this preacher guy said that the world was supposed to end in April.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? May, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, he calculated some wrong stuff, but they always do. But I remember they said that there was some stuff supposed to happen on 12/12/1994. So when it came down, I was looking for some stuff to happen, and it didn't happen. But what the transmission said was, there's things that's happening all the time, not necessarily because it didn't register in the physical. It didn't happen. Now what happened maybe a day after that, when the preacher said that it's supposed to end on May, in May. Didn't they have a damn tornado come down to Joplin, Texas, and wipe that shit off the map? You see? So he got some calculations right. Now, if you're in Joplin, Texas, your world is ended. See what I'm saying? Now, he also calculated this. He said, well, there's 2 days. He said one was in May, and the other one was on October the 21st. Remember he said that? Okay. He came back and said that. By October the 21st, it's supposed to be the second half of that. Well, let's turn to, in this book, the Goddess Book of Days. This book is a must-have if you can get this book off of the internet, by Diane Stein. The Goddess Book of Days. The Goddess Book of Days. So, I mean, any day you want, you can look up here and find out what goddess is ruling over that day. Then you can go to the internet and look up, if you don't know nothing about the god, you can look up and see what the attributes are, and you can see what days, what energies you're dealing with. You see what I'm saying? So this is a must-have. The Goddess Book of Days is out of print. This is a hardback cover. I don't know how much they can sell this for anything on the internet now. But they got softback covers. You know, you might get $14, $20, or what have you. Let's go to the Goddess Book of Days and see October the 21st. Now, here again, I'm not advocating there's nothing going to happen, because when you're reading this stuff, I'm going to tell you how it's supposed to be reading. When he said in April the world was supposed to end, and it didn't end in the physical, you see, there's some stuff that is ending inside of the body. There's certain things that is going on. The body is going through an apocalypse. The original apocalypse that they talk about in the Bible was originally some shit that was going on, or different chemicals, different stones, different 7 seals with the 7 chakras, different things that's coming back online in the body. So if you're looking outwardly, you don't get it. You see what I'm saying? This shit here just gonna disappear. Like a twinkling of an eye. You see? That's what them cats is going through, them dimensions in them trees right now. That's why people are walking down the damn street and they come up missing. 300,000 of them. That's in your Ebony magazine. Let me show you the thing right here. I got it right here. I got it right here. This is the one we talking about. Got it right here. This is the Ebony magazine. Jumping the Broom. That was May 2011. Okay. You get the article of what page? Here it is. Nearly, this is the article. Nearly 300,000 people of color went missing last year. Then they talk about this Silica Barnes is one of those 3. They were talking about, the article only dealt with one case of one girl. But what's happening here is, what they can't understand is the people are missing Because these people walk down the street and they find themselves in other dimensions. Now it's very interesting here because they talk about Croatoan, which later on we call Croatans. Croatans is a triracial looking Indian people. They say most of them amalgamated into life in southern North Carolina. We used to live up the street from one in Mullins. But they said that there was these Indians in Roanoke, Virginia that went missing. You see, went missing, and they call it Croatoans or Croatan. And they just went, yeah.
They also got missing in North Carolina too then.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And stuff. So this is this particular land. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when I first went to Atlanta, I was working for Martin Luther King Jr. on his campaign. On his campaign, I was working for Martin Luther King Jr. So we have to get on these trucks and go around all these little shopping centers where all the black people congregated, and get them and advertise, try to get the vote out for Martin Luther King Jr. thing. It was a real big thing. And we went by this shopping center, and there were so many black people on Saturdays that you couldn't count them. I mean, there's just teeming of black people all everywhere. We go by the same shopping center on a Saturday now, and there's hardly nobody there. The point I'm trying to make here is that some of the people are disappearing out of these communities because they're slipping off into spiritual dimensions. So maybe when they say that black people are in Depression era, there's some disappearing going on. That's why the movie, you got to see the movie Vanishing on 7th Street. You can go get it from Netflix or wherever you go get movies from now.
They even have that at the library.
You got, okay, yeah. Y'all got the bootleg thing still going down here?
No, we don't have that here. Our governor won't allow it.
That I'm telling you, that them shit was coming from Russia. Be in your DVD player before the movie starts. So let's look at the 21st and see what's happening, what God. And for some reason, this particular day, the gods line up. Most of it's the goddesses, but this particular day. Okay, October 21st, Feast of the Black Christ in Panama. The people don't know that they worship the Black Christ in Panama, Puerto Rico, and in Central and South America, they worship a Black Christ called El Cristo Negro. Feast of the Black Christ in Panama and the Virgin Islands. Now, this is the lineup. These are all the Christ figures. You think that Jesus is one. Jesus is just a name, you see what I'm saying, explaining these ones that really existed in history. Well, really existed in you. You see what I'm saying, as Christ figures. So he is Obatala, that's Africa, Apollo, Adonis, Osiris, Horus, Quetzalcoatl, Baal, Dionysus, Damballa, Shango, Dumuzi, Tammuz, and another Slavic moon goddess. But the point they're trying to make here is, this is a day that all these Christ figures line up outside of Christianity. This preacher don't know nothing about this. You see what I'm saying? But every Christ figure that existed in the ancient world, you see, line up. Now, we all know, here's the other trick, that the Christ is ultimately talking about the inner workings of your DNA. And they're talking about alignments. You see what I'm saying? In the inner workings of your DNA. You see. So, in so many words, what they're saying on the 21st, some stuff going to align in you. You see. And the Christ is, remember now, this is the funny part about the Christ thing. The Christ thing is always, the Christ figure is always a dual entity. There cannot be a Christ not unless there's two sides, a male and female, coming together. That's what the Christ is. So we're still talking about our essence as both male and females. in us. You see, it's a twofold system. Male and female energies lining up, and basically that's what makes the Christ. You see, so it can't be just one man. You see what I'm saying? It's talking about some stuff that's innate inside of your body and your DNA. When you got those two strands of DNA, one is masculine, one is feminine. That's why you got in voodoo, you got Dambala Wedo, or Ada Wedo. You see, so in Ada Wedo is the feminine, and Dambala is the masculine, but they also represent two aspects of the same half, or two essence of the same half. You see what I'm saying? Y'all all right? Okay. I'm trying to get through some stuff. So when you wanna go to the break?
Got 36 minutes left on this tape.
Okay, so let's see here. All right, well, let's go into some question and answer, because I'm trying to save something for the final solution on not what they're gonna do, what they've already put in place. We're gonna go into that. What's that, sister?
How you doing, Bobby? I love you, by the way.
All right.
Me and my grandmother, we were having a conversation about the development of babies, and she was telling me that you know, when she was coming up, she remembered when babies took about 2 weeks to open their eyes, like a week to 2 weeks to open their eyes after being born. And she was like, now, you know, they're being born, you know, holding their neck up and, you know, and really advanced. Does that have anything to do with the DNA changing?
Yeah, that is, because especially when a lot of black babies do stuff that white babies can't do. But we're just so far ahead on that track, on that particular level and stuff. So yeah, that is a sign of the return of the gods. When you see babies doing things, and not only that, their thought patterns of what they would say and do now, you wouldn't have dared even thinking that way when you was a child. You say, how can they think this way? The only thing about it here is the government already know that they're advanced, so what they try to do is to put as much negative stuff going on with them and foolishness, you see, that they can offset that genius. You see, that's why most geniuses are like 2 steps off from being serial killers, based on especially if it's got a high level of genius and specialties. That's the one that you have to harness and keep disciplined, otherwise it can go astray. So that's what they're doing with these children, because you know they call it the what was it, the rainbow children, crystal children, and we in the crystal children now. What was it? It was indigo.
The star children, rainbow.
And the crystal children are now. So those are the ones that they have to really. That's why, you know, they really go after the foolishness. I'll put you in this sea of ignorance. You see, that's why they give you a BET, which should be black entertainment disgrace, or whatever, you know. Yeah, what's that?
Extermination TV.
Yeah.
What about the movie like it's called The North, Nicolas Cage? And at the end of the movie they got the children.
They get the children to get, right.
Yeah, they got. And
the children was in something called a field. You saw it, the wheat field.
Yeah.
That's called a field of reeds. That's supposed to be heaven to the Egyptians.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing there. What's that, brother?
Yeah, to piggyback on what she was saying, this is an observation. Someone that worked in a hospital told me that they actually marvel at the black children. I'm talking about the doctors now. Mm-hmm. And they said that the black female is the strongest, has no problems. And they got a term. The white folk and the black folk got this term. It's like a medical term, but they use it. And it's called the wimpy white boy syndrome. Whites and blacks use this I couldn't believe this when I was hearing it. But she said the white folk use this.
Yeah.
This is a sister telling me this, that worked in the
right.
hospital.
That's why even in the Harry Potter movies, the little girl, the girl is smarter than both of them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bell Hooks, the black feminist, said that. You see what I'm saying, and all like that. So even on that, they're trying to say, you know, on that particular level, as far as how they can marvel behind what they can do. And so basically what happens here is that that's what happens with a patriarchal society. They want to breed all of that out of that female. You see, out of that particular female and stuff, you see. You know, on that particular level. So yeah, that's very interesting. Give me some questions.
Since we're talking about the sisters, can you comment on that article written by that Oriental psychiatrist that made these very disgraceful statements about the African woman, her being least desirable, and all of this stuff that was done in a scientific magazine?
All the way around.
Least, you know. But then again, you know, that's all a part of the design too. You know, that's all part of the design too. You know, it's interesting here because, like I said, they just had that earthquake in Japan. But it was the Japanese that said in 1986 that the problem with America was black people in it. Huh? Yeah, when they said that on TV. So my point here is just, you know, yeah, what's that?
How does the radiation from Japan affect us spiritually?
I'm going to go into that in the second half because that has something. Yeah, it does. It's already affecting the people in Italy. People in Italy. Now, as far as radiation itself, they dropped a lot of the test sites when it was testing a lot of the bombs in the 50s and the 40s was near black areas. And nothing never happened. Nothing. Our melanin sucked that shit up like it wasn't nothing. You see what I'm saying? Remember the movie Mars Invade or Mars Attack? And they shot the radiation and they took it and put it in a balloon and sucked that shit and got high with it. So with us it might, you know, it might open up something, just like the crack babies. The crack babies, I don't know, you know, down here, but the ones in Atlanta, the crack babies was out. They were out testing everything in the school system. So it opened up something latent, you know, with the crack babies. Now I met one mom and dad that we was both on crack and our child wasn't that way. I said, you gotta have something to start with in the first place. You know, what's that?
Right on that crack baby thing, UCLA did a test in 1994 on a crack baby, and they revisited that baby 5 years later.
Yeah. And
the baby didn't have HIV or none of that, and they found out that a couple of strands of DNA had reconnected, and they said that baby's not even human by DNA measurement.
Now, because what they did is that they sped up the process of the God gene.
Right.
You see, so this radiation thing, when it comes to us, it can have a whole nother effect. You see what I'm saying? It can have a whole nother effect. Unfortunately, well, I won't say unfortunately, like I say, we need some radiation on us, but it's not coming to, they have some trails of it that's coming here, but it really messes, like I said, it's still over in that part of the world. But whatever little bit that did come here, through the Pacific or what have you, and stuff, it might be something, that can put us into the God realm. Just like that guy that got shot in the head, and the bullet didn't pierce his wound. It didn't pierce his brain. Now, how's somebody going to put a gun to the back of your head and it only break the skin? See what I'm saying? Now, this is interesting here because, now Farrakhan said something years ago in the 1985 Power Tour. He said, if our slave went to war with you openly, come with us, if you go to war with your slave, he said, we went to war with the government openly, we will win. Now it's interesting because the brother Andrew Brown, the same one that told me about the other day about the guy getting shot in the back of the head and it just broke his skin? He said that the guy, you know, what's the name, White House staff, Chief of White House, whatever the cat name was, Rahm Emanuel, left Obama to go to Chicago to run for mayor. Okay? Soon as he got in the mayor, he brought a black head of police. I don't know if it was black or white. He brought a head of police from New Jersey to Chicago to be the head of the police. Now the first thing they say when you become mayor in a major city where there are black people, the first thing they say is you got to meet with the head of the police to find out how you're going to contain the black problem. So Rahm Emanuel brought in this guy from New Jersey. And the guy ordered, the head of police ordered armor-piercing bullets and guns and bullets that pierce armor to a regular city. Yeah, you know, as to say that they're getting ready to go after some people, or they're getting ready to go after some people just like the guy that got shot in the head and the shit didn't pierce his brain. It didn't pierce the skull. So apparently, this guy that got shot in the head last Tuesday, they are expecting more of these black people that's going to become invincible. So they got to get armor-piercing bullets just to shoot at them. You see? So when Farrakhan said in 1985, if we went to war with you, we would win, because they're talking about producing something when we are openly challenged. That's why they have to come in, put the soy and all the stuff in the grocery store. You see what I'm saying? Other than to fight you openly, they got to do all kind of tactics. They got to do all kind of tactics. So what I want to do now, for the people that want the third eye mirror, we got the stimulus packages, the checks, we got the purple disc, and we also got this too, to go with the third eye mirror if you want it. We got a Ganesha CD. Now Ganesha is an elephant in India that removes obstacles. So when you play that CD and loop it, the money gonna come, the prosperity gonna come. We got that. We also got a CD that they have put together about the womb. It's a womb CD on how the womb sound, but they're talking about a cosmic womb. And when they put it together, all it's got this music, they had to go get sounds of space from NASA. So you take that cosmic womb CD and look into that black mirror, shit happens, and it's going to line all that God stuff up. So we got those things too, and those things are going together. You can get those things, together along with the third eye mirror. So you want to get down with some of that particular stuff. The tachyon energy, that's awesome at this particular time. That'll save you from some of this bad food and stuff when you're weighing that type of stuff. You see, and we also have the checks, because they got a double. They're saying they got a double dip recession, but they're saying black people are in the depression era. So you